was better. Black has a very difficult position. Very difficult. Queen a4 now.
Now comes the rooks. I'm expecting rook to b8. And
I think queen
line up
a4
against
was much
b3.
better before. Because if it would be white to move, white could do now bishop c4, pushing back the rook, exchange the queen, and take the a5 pawn. Now it's not exactly this. What about the f7 pawn? Rook b2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's no need for that. You can keep control, right? You can go b3, and she steps rook d2, and maybe this is a step in the wrong direction because the rook is forced off the d line where it was eyeballing the pawn on d6. And one thing
Absolutely.
that I want to say is that white does have to take the time out to take some care over her king. So I am expecting white to kind of push forward with an h3
Okay, but don't
small
forget
move.
5 seconds on her clock. Divya is very
Mm.
much down on time. If she's going to save this game, she saves everything.
Oh, well,
I
well,
know. I
she's
said
under
it. I
pressure.
know it's a big saying, but with 5 seconds, no way that she can save it.
Well, we're going to see what Divya is made out of as she has a difficult position, but seconds left on the clock. And how you found she is piling on the pressure. The rook is now mobilized. Divya is playing very, very quickly, though.
Bishop f7 was possible instead of rook c6, sacrificing the bishop.
Hmm. Um, well, how you found now ticking down to the 33-second mark. And this is the moment where things had to happen. Okay, the b2 pawn is on breeze, but you do have a rook c7. That's the point. And oh, the black king is running out. No, no, no. You cannot survive with the king out there on h6. The question for Harry Fan is how she just simply going to survive this. Okay, well, some counterplay on b2, but you feel it's not enough. The black king is so unsafe.
Okay, now sacrificed. H takes g5, on g6. Nice move. Nice
Don't take on g5. You can't take on g5 with the queen because you got rook to g7 at the end of it. And
Look what a beautiful king g2, queen h1. Beautiful touch by Hui Fan.
That absolutely is a beautiful game there from Ho Yifan, who managed to steady the ship as she gets that much needed comeback win. And that means that Ho Yifan, she narrows the gap down from 2 points to 1 point. So she is trailing 3 points to 2, but Divya Deshmukh making an impression on us all with her fiery brand of chess there, Julian.
Absolutely, it was fun to watch how the games unfolded. With serious mistakes, but with great and fun ideas by. I mean, the game one, that was kind of a crucial game. Because in game one, it was clear that Hui Fan took the initiative, she was better. Maybe she was happy too early, and unexpectedly with this material rook sacrifice on f2, Divya confused Hui Fan. She got confused, lost all her time, and then basically escaped to a perpetual check. So things happened so fast, and after that, simply Divya in game 2, this special move a4, and after that sacrificing the piece and having the 3 pawns on the queen side, it gave an incredible kick for Divya, and then basically it's like she punched Hui Fan, who was like still going around.
Well. It has been quite the experience so far, and we've only just come to the first portion. But I can tell you that don't forget to subscribe to our Twitch channel because you unlock exclusive emotes of your favorite players, no ads on chess.com, and fun content during the broadcast breaks. So use !subscribe in chat to level up your streaming experience. And we're going to be right back with a good this portion just after this break. See you then.
Now looking back at your career, do you think all the hard work to become one of the best chess players in the world was worth it? Would you do it again, or would you choose a different path? Well, I don't think I can say I would do a different path. I was so successful and I love the game so much that when you love the game and you're successful and you have all those achievements, I think it's very hard not to like it. Of course, I would do it again. I had so many good things within my life through chess that I don't think I would like to change that. Do you think we'll see a female player become a world champion in the open category in the near future? And are there any current players you believe have the potential to achieve this? I do believe that someday there is obviously the possibility that a female will become the absolute world champion. But right now I would more like to see maybe several ladies in the top 20, let's say. I think that would be a bigger achievement to show that ladies are capable. And obviously it is possible from my perspective. Right now I can't pinpoint out anybody that much who is already very close. But of course there are players like Botana. I met her, she's a huge talent, she loves the game. But she's not the only one, there are other, obviously many Indian girls, I think maybe we don't even know them. But I even met several ones who, if everything turns out well, and they are dedicated, the parents are supportive, they have good coaches, they have all the potential to become the best player they can. And I strongly believe that it's not a matter of gender, so obviously I'm very supportive on that, and I hope that in a decade or two we are going to see several girls being in the top 20, let's say.
Kita tanan magdungal sa Oslo, atong ngalan mo sidlak o mulupad. Diyon sa kamot, kasing-kasing nag-awit, champion ang tumong, mapapilin ang gugma sa dula. Jowa yung chess, dapat tayong sala, sa Oslo magpakita.
We are back and it is time for the 3+1 portion. 30 minutes of pure unadulterated joy, and part of it is actually thanks to this lady, Divya Deshmukh. She's recently become a grandmaster, so she's grandmaster elect, but she is bringing a very special brand to the game. It's complete fireworks on the board. Chaos will reign, and so far she is nurturing a 1-point lead over four-time women's world champion Ho Yifan. Now Ho Yifan, she's won a lot of things. She also won the WSCC back in 23, so she's no stranger to this format. And we'll have to see what she comes to this portion, what she comes armed with, because she does need to shake things up a little bit.
Well, I believe, Yoi, that this game made her bounce back very much. I see her, look at her face, look at the way she sits there, she's back in business. She has only 1 point behind, that's nothing. And she showed in this game that if I steer the game in the direction I want, being more solid, I'm much better. And let's see how Divya can steer the game back to the wavy and the angry sea that anything can happen. Or so who is going to win with her strategy, right? Because it's very clear that Yifan has to go into solid direction. And we are kicking off with a new portion of 3 minutes and 1 second. We see again the C3 Sicilian kind, but now we're going to see a little bit different structure, I believe. French structure.
It is definitely a French structure. Something had to give. Ho Yifan lost 2 bad games against Divya's earlier attempts, so she definitely had to change it up. And yeah, you called it. I do think that Hou Yifan's game is going to be just to lock everything down. It's going to be the immovable object versus that unstoppable force. And here comes Divya. H2, H4. You know, don't play knight to G3, G6 because H5 is incoming at the right time. So, wow, H6 and then we're seeing that Divya is like sacrificing.
I know. Look at that. I mean, Divya is she's just not taking back a pawn, right? She's playing a gambit, like she's trying to confuse her opponent, unbalance the game, going for initiative, for space. Now knight b3, knight d4. It's kind of bluffing, it seems, but maybe it's not because it's not so easy to develop with the black pieces. Knight a5.
Certainly not easy. And there we see knight a5. You know, that makes a lot of sense because if you can initiate some trades, the knight on e7 can jump to c6, and at least you have a home for all of your pieces. Although I still gotta say that even with those trades, it's not going to be very easy for black to find a safe place for the king, because despite me being a materialist, I'm always looking for a home for the king to hide out.
Well, for the king, it's going to be a lot of questions to be asked before it can decide where and how. Put into system. Rook b1. I like rook b1 a lot. Knight takes a5 now is a threat, and the b7 pawn. So your knight e7 to c6 arrives.
Question time.
I would love to go queen g4 now. That's what I would like to do, but there's an f3 knight in the way.
Yep. And yeah, well, she just developed a piece. I mean, that's a very calm move, right? You just say, hey, I'm going to make my compensation positional. And I'm with you. I was thinking, how can I get the queen out to g4? But yeah, maybe you don't need to. Maybe you can. I really want to centralize a knight. I want to go knight bd4.
Yeah, but I don't think that to give away this bishop it benefits white. Or is it well, yeah, I don't want to give that.
Yeah, I also feel
I like that bishop.
I like
That's why I'm not even sure I was happy to put it on e3. Because in these kind of positions, the bishop on c1 can be just as powerful than on e3. But okay, the bishop on e3. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the long-range pieces, and that's one of the great things about bishops, that they're able to traverse the board in just one move. And I actually really like what Divya is doing, how she did make a trade, keeping the dark square bishop. Wait 1 second.
One blunder.
Knight takes me
Knight
five.
Bad news.
That's a slip up. And there you go, it appears. And obviously you can't take that knight because of the loose queen hanging on a4. So queen takes queen is going to be met by knight takes queen. And black has now pocketed a second pawn. And this is very bad news for Divya. And Hou Yifan, she's well on her way to equalizing the match. Suddenly.
Oh, she changed. Very bad news for her. Oof. Yeah. This is not the game to play. To follow. It's gone. Sorry. I was very happy with the other games, ups and downs and everything, but here it just seems so hopeless. 2 pawns down. Black has a healthy position with rook on c8. She might even end up regrouping her pieces. Knight f6, knight e5, bishop c5 is possible. But bishop c5 maybe actually would be giving that bishop e7, attacking this pawn. No, I understand that white is not resigning because you have to fight. But she has to use this time also not only just making moves and fighting, because it's very hard to to say that you're fighting to save the game with practically 3 pawns down. Okay, now she can take on d6 and it's only 2. 2 pawns is missing. But I think it would be very wise if these seconds in the rest of this game she's using it to recover her mindset.
Yeah, and you talked about recovering the mindset. Like, how would you recover from what is now 2 bad moments in the game? Did Queen to A4 and characteristic slip up there from Divya. How does she get back from this?
Well, she has to understand, I think, very clearly that, okay, now we are starting everything from scratch. And that's the good version, because she lost the last game, and if she's going to lose this game, it means that she's psychological minus right now in the match, even though the match is balanced and equal. I mean, I'm wondering while I'm talking and criticizing what's the situation for white. I mean, she's fighting, trying to put pressure on the c4 pawn, but I hardly can imagine that it's possible to save.
Yeah, I'm expecting rook c5, and sure enough it appears. Okay, well, white has a few checks, right? Yeah, this is a nice defense.
This I didn't like at all, what black did. F6, huge mistake. Misplaying the position. Black make it much more harder than it was. Still winning, but it was much more winning from practical point of view.
I mean, here, players now. They're just on seconds, Judith.
Yeah, but white has less seconds.
That is true, but we've seen that when it comes to those closing seconds, that Divya is capable of playing fantastic chess. And there you're seeing that it's Hou Fan that's made the blunder. She's dropped the g-pawn.
Oh my god! What is this?
And sadly, the king needed to stay in touch with the e-pawn, but maybe it's time for her to... Wow. Now the g-pawn is going to be... Now is the king going to lead from the front? Check, and now you check again and you bring the king. Oh!
King d3, my god, oh. This game is painful.
And now this is like the Lucina position, so
e3.
How much are you going to do it? Yeah, e3, and now you go king here.
She goes king e2.
Then you go rook
Why king e2? Rook e2 was immediately...
Oh!
And she got on time, not on position.
Right, but that's, yeah, you could have just played rook to d1 there. But anyway, okay, Hou Fan won. It was a scrappy win, but she has equalized. The score are 3 points apiece, and we are seeing Hou Fan go back to e4, and it's the Sicilian once more. Well, we haven't seen Divya get too many successful openings. You know, she's been struggling a little bit with this structure.
With the black pieces. With the black pieces, Divya struggled. I mean, with the white pieces, I mean, even in the previous position game, it was quite okay. I mean, she got the position, the type she wanted. But now it's interesting that Hou Fan goes not the solid way of bishop e2 short castle, but she's castling long.
She's using the momentum, but is this a good strategy to switch things up and go for this opposite side castling, especially when Hou Fan was doing so well, you know, with establishing the bind on d5 and playing that slow game?
Well, this is not going to be that time. I mean, Hou Fan was playing in her active years like this. Also with healthy, energetic games. She was not so solid that she was looking the solid direction. But of course here there is a lot of more tactics possible than in the more solid short castle bishop e2 system which she played in the previous game. Knight f5.
And for those players... And for those players who don't play professionally, I would say like Harry Fan, who's working, what is the weakest part of the game, do you find, with people who are not match ready, so to speak?
You're asking the right person.
I am.
Because I'm not playing, but I'm not playing at all. Not only as little as very fun. I think the biggest problem when you play very little, that you feel very rusty and you're unhappy with yourself because you're short on many ways. In time, that's one of the most important. You're out of time because you're insecure and you double and triple and you're rechecking everything because of your insecurities, so you end up in time trouble, which gives extra problems. And the problem is, it's like, you know, you start your car, the engine, you start the engine, you stop, and it's not nice to start again and again and stop and go again. So you don't have this flow, this feel for the game. It's like you do a lot of sport every day for 2 years and then you don't do it for 2 months. Nothing really happens, but you feel that you're rusty, your muscles are not like that. I should be trying. So everything comes much more difficult, not so natural. And then also when you make your mistake, then you're much more unhappy with it because you don't have enough time to correct it, recover from that. This is what I would think. And of course also that you have other expectations from yourself because you know that you were so good, you were so sharp. You were not doing these kind of mistakes before, and then you're kind of disappointed with yourself, and that's not a nice feeling.
No, it's certainly not a nice feeling. And talking about nice feelings, I'm looking at this position and Holy Fan, she might have chosen a sharp variation, but it seems to have a very nice positional advantage. She's got pressure against d6. Also, her bishop is way more effective than the light squared counterpart for the time being, and I don't know how you're going to defend the bishop and the pawn.
Yeah, this is a problem that after queen g3 the double attack works for white. Even though, okay, for us we see the position and we see the evil bar. In the game it's not so obvious that it's so good for white than here looking the evil bar, because the f5 bishop, after all, it can be scary. At the same time, white is going to be grabbing this pawn as well, I think, after... Oh, rook c2, look at that. Let's see if Divya can save this one. So the first game it was rook f2 saving incredibly, and now on the other side going rook f2. Rook c2.
Okay, well this is the big issue. Yeah, what is the idea? So if the bishop takes rook and you take, you're gonna check on the diagonal and just drive
the problem
that
is
out.
bishop c7. This is the problem.
Yeah.
This is the problem.
And there we're seeing rook to c8 being played, and bishop to c7, as you predicted.
I think Divya probably blundered this move. But okay, otherwise it would be just saving the game.
Yep, and there you can see it's a great move, very key move, absolutely, as Judith points out. So if white didn't have this resource, black would be putting a whole lot of pressure on the position. But there we see takes. I mean, the white king is still out in the open, so you might have still some chances to save it, especially because both players are under the limit. The d pawn falls,
And what is this rook d1?
Take on a2.
Yeah, she was just expecting queen c6 and that the bishop is not possible to take. Now she's back in business, to say the least.
Anyone's game. I know, this is anyone's game. I mean, the white king is very shaky.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and black has 2 pawns for the piece. Probably rook d8 was a good decision to make. Simplify the position. Well, Divya goes down on time. 3.
She could throw in a few checks.
Yeah, but maybe just b3.
Queen e2. And now you have queen
Queen d2 is
right? You know, because Black has some pass pawns, and there we see Divya just fighting hard. This is a nice point. Centralize the queen. And you can't. Divya has been so awkward. Targeting now a G2 pawn. She just keeps fighting until the bitter end. And now Hoi Fan down to seconds. And do you see how quickly these players are playing with just that 1 second increment?
They have no choice.
Yeah. But now, is there any checks? How is she gonna escape these checks? Divya just performing a Houdini escape. Well, okay, it doesn't really matter because Hoi Fan just relying on her instinct and the checks keep on coming.
Queen b5. That was a mistake. She had to take on b3, I think.
And if she'd taken on b3, it still would have been good chances, I think, with this time situation to hold the draw. And now the white king is safe, so you can just advance the b pawn. Now Black is going to lose it. And there we see Hoi Fan wins, and for the first time in this match, she takes lead. And well, it was a big fight there from Divya, but in the end, it was not enough. I mean, it was just the question of the clock, right? So now we're seeing Divya back in her home territory. She's got the C3 Sicilian on the board, and it's a different approach there from Hoi Fan. This is very topical line.
Yeah, I remember when I was also playing this and analyzing this many years ago, that you don't want to have this close position with the French type of position, and you go d4. It is very different structure. You're gonna go d3 and knight d2, trying to get to knight to d2, knight d4, knight c4. So without the white spare bishop is also kind of less tension in the game. Rook d8. So what is going to do c4?
It's a very unconventional pawn structure, right? With a pawn on c4, another pawn on e5. There's no presence of nice squared bishops. So I agree, close the position down because otherwise d3 was going to be a weakness. And now, oh, she's planning g5, Judith. Feel it in my bones.
You think so? I'm not sure.
Well,
now we are not going to know it. Is she gonna play h5 or comes knight d4? Unexpected, very unexpected that Divya is behind in time. Usually at this stage she had advantage. Why is this a question mark? G5, you're right.
Yeah, well, now we're seeing pure chaos on the board, and the question is, you know, knight to g6, is all systems go here? Okay, you gotta step back with the bishop, or you gotta go queen to d2, there's nothing for it. It's a difficult position to play, I think, with the white pieces. Because Black's plan is so easy, right? It just
Black is playing with great energy.
Now we're seeing, you know, now you can target e5, so I'm expecting. I was thinking either bishop g7, just to immediately go for the pawn,
or maybe f4. Maybe Black wants to take on e5 or knight g takes e5.
I was too afraid to suggest that one.
I understand.
It looks scary.
It looks scary, but we're analyzing. We're commentators.
That is true. That is very, very true. Should be 7. Okay. This is a safer type of move. And also one thing I wanted to point out is after say like a move like knight to f3 standing in retreat, that can get really funny and go knight king d7 and then king c8, and then you go, well, it was all part of the grand plan to sacrifice a pawn because like has already made attack on the h line.
You know, it was so funny, like while you're saying that you want to go to king d7 and I'm just commentating freestyle quite a lot, so I was thinking just castle. Put the king on c8. But
sure enough,
with king d7.
King did come to d7 and I was gonna find a home on c8, and suddenly, you know, there is a ready-made attack down the h line. And okay, I know it was given an expanded knight takes e5. The Holy fan, it's completely taken me by shock the way that she switched gears, because we saw in the first portion that the way that she won was by keeping control, outplaying Divya positionally, and now she's like, I'm gonna embrace the chaos, I'm gonna meet her in her own battlefield, and wow, we have a big fight.
Absolutely, and the players are going to have around 1 minute with this chaotic position, and once in the near future Huifan wants to go rook h7, doubling the rook on the h5, and what Divya is going to be doing about it. Look at that, f4, f5 counter attack. Very nice move. Very nice move. I guess the only one also, but sharp.
Definitely. And as someone who's in retirement, would you say that the competitive spirit never goes away?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once you take the I don't know how you say it. I mean, you start feel the game really, and then things go in your own way, right? And we can see that basically it was Huifan in this game who started some moves that she clearly wanted initiative, right? By playing h6 and giving a hint of g5. So the rook showed up on the h5.
Yeah, and now there's a big threat of rook to h1, and now we're seeing, I mean, I did wonder whether there was some knight takes e6 as stuff for Divya, but this is a difficult position though. The white king is going to get to check the black king. He's very, very safe, but it's still very messy, and Divya just 5
Mate in 1.
and kind of wins.
In f2 she played and got checkmated in 1. But you know what's interesting? +2, right? Isn't it +2? Yeah, +2 for Huifan, leading. Very big dilemma for Divya. How is she going to bounce back in this match, in this middle portion of this match? After this game, probably they will not have enough time before going and entering into the bullet part. So it's going to be very, very tough for Divya to get back. And while I'm following this match live, you know, I remember when I was playing with Karpov quite a lot, when in the early 90s I was playing. I mean, he was very much in his prime years, I must say. 94 he won Linares, crushing everybody basically. But later on, when I played with him in this millennium already, after 2000, and later in like almost 2010 or something, I felt that he was doing so many other things in life that when he went to a tournament, you could feel that in the first 2 rounds, he was warming up, he was making much more mistakes, he was completely rusty. But if the tournament was long, and there was a huge difference in quality of play in later games, because he needed a switch in his mindset to forget things, or as much as he could, about other things he was doing, and then he played much better. And this is what I feel also with Huifan now, that maybe in the beginning she was not there completely, so she needed time somehow to recover, and especially this previous game, she played very hard.
Yes, she did, and yeah, I guess it's the excitement of a challenge, right? You kind of level up, because Divya came in swinging, and now Hou Yifan has said, hey, I'm gonna play positional chess, now I'm gonna switch to aggressive chess, and we're talking about aggressive. It's very much there on the board as we are seeing a king side attack on the making, and queen to d3 awarded a question mark. That wasn't the best move. Apparently queen c2 was the better move, but that's very anti, positional to kind of put your queen.
Yes, but that was very concrete, because I think it was very concrete because it was important to leave the diagonal for the bishop to a6. But here also White has a fantastic position, amazing position.
Time to get rolling is what I would say. So I would be immediately looking at g4. I mean, I wouldn't be taking on a6, but maybe I should.
Well, also bishop f3 is kind of, if you have it on the board. Bishop f3 is a very classical way of reinforcing the d5 square. Probably e4 should be done by blank, I think, and then knight e5.
Yeah, probably. That looks like a nice way to break out, and very much in Divya's style, I would say. She's not afraid of giving up material in order to get active. What other moves? It feels like moves like knight takes knight is just simply allowing White to come in and just get a grasp in the center, and then we're seeing a5. Well, she's got plans of a4. It's still very much unclear.
Well, she just wants to save her pawn from a6. That's why she played a5. I mean, if black goes a4, you know what I'm gonna do? I just grab it, take it, and take it. Whatever pawn you're going to give, I'm just taking and thanking. So after rook c1, White's plan is to go rook c1 as well. Of course, black's knight d4, trying to simplify the position, getting rid of with the pawn and pieces on the long diagonal a1 h8, so the bishop can be brought out to f6 and get some power there. I'm not even sure White is going to be taking on d4,
I would not take on a d4, just because, again, when it comes to opposite color bishops, it's all based on targets and activity. And take a look at that, she took on d4, and then suddenly queen comes out to a7, and
I'm sorry,
there
but
is
now
isn't this possible? It looks possible, because then you can check on f6 and then take on.
I can't believe it. What happened with Divya? Bishop b2? She doesn't see bishop b2? What is this?
That was the killer move. I think she just wasn't looking for it.
But you don't look at for these things, they are just come to your mind. I mean, the way she played the first two games, it just came to her mind. I mean, here he should just take it. Okay.
Maybe it was that loss. Maybe it was that loss back in the last game of the 5+1, because she was on a momentum, it was giving her energy, she was finding all these brilliant resources. Okay, well, now we have another shot at victory for Divya, and it's time to utilize the rook.
Nope, I think she should go rook c8 first. She has to go rook c8 first, and after that rook d8.
Yep. That was the way forward. But still, it's a very unpleasant position, I would say, for Hou Yifan. This bishop on f6 is just a beast. What Hou Yifan's extra pawn is just literally b3, and we're seeing some trades. Oh, but Hou Yifan just 12 seconds on the clock, and the position still a little bit tricky, but well within.
Mouse.
Under checkmate. Under checkmate. And wow, much needed victory for Divya as she starts inching her way towards eating that score, because now it's 5-4. Anything can happen. This is going to be the final game in the 3+1 portion.
No, this game was essential, critical for the outcome, final result of the match.
We see Divya with the white pieces, she switches it up no C3 Sicilians anymore. Instead, pesting Hou Yifan in the Indian or limited Indian. Yep, it's Queen's Indian.
It would be so interesting for me to understand, and maybe when we have the winners at the end, and whoever we're going to be speaking to, ask them, how do they choose? How do they switch? Really, in this 1.5 second they get in between games, is it 100% intuition?
Well, we can ask them. It's interesting, like, to ask how many openings they prepared for this specific match. Because David and some of the other guests on the show, they were saying that, you know, when you're playing blitz matches, you come armed with 4. No, was it three or 4 openings? Some where you have to play in a must-win situation. And talking about must-win situation, Divya is really going for it as she advances the pawn. And if she wins this one, she levels the score, and suddenly it's everything to play for. It's going to be completely random in the one.
She's just going to tear her off in this game, you know? I mean, look at that. The tiger arrived. She's just going to take on F5, G4, Knight G5. Oh,
Sure enough, it appears on the board. And she goes for the F5 pawn. You know, Bishop H3 is coming next, and it's a materialist game.
Yeah, but actually Knight on H4, it's if... what is she gonna do? Bishop H3? I rather like the Knight on G5 than on H4 in this setup where I have my Queen on C2 already.
Yeah. But it's very tempting, right, to go for that material, because you can see, you can follow this up with Bishop to H3. That's already 2 happy moves that you played, and now the onus is on Hou Yifan to generate something, right? So you can meet counterattacks on 4 by protecting C3, and still the question for her is, how are you gonna defend on 5? You don't, or do you want to be stepping up with F4? I think you probably have to.
Well, I don't see any other move for black, any tactics possibility instead of F4. I thought that she wants to go Bishop F5. I mean, that bishop, she wanted to connect the rook, but maybe Bishop A3 must have been played with the tempo. And also Knight C5 now is going to be unpleasant. Huge recovery from that position.
Well, there's a pawn that's up for grabs on D7. That's the first thing that I'm going to be looking at.
Don't tell me that you realize that the pawn is hanging on D7, yeah?
It took me a while to see it because I was thinking about your bishop made suggestion.
You're cheerful again. That pawn is hanging there. Let's grab that.
Well, now I'm not so cheerful. Well, the problem now is that Hou Yifan's pieces have sprung to life. You know, the bishop is bearing down on C4. It's weak, and I don't like the fact that this bishop is loose on F5. Wow.
E4.
E4 in the air.
Maybe F3.
You have to do some reply work there, because
For white to see this knight on C5, it's like a horror. So when the knight is back on D8 and you have an extra pawn on D7, I'd much rather see that than a pawn missing on D7 and knight on C5. F3 is on the board.
Yeah. And And I think this was very much needed, because this was the move that I was also afraid of. Bishop to c8, followed by some knight takes bishop, and you just take the light squares. So,
At the same time, the bishop on a6 was also standing quite okay, putting pressure on the c4 pawn, right?
that is true. Look at this. Let's have a trade. Divya, she's finding some good moves to survive. Knight needed to go to g2, and there's just threats of going g4. Oh, that was ambitious.
Probably she had to take g takes f4, but that was not a tempting option.
Well, still anything can happen, because Hou Fan is down to her final 22 seconds, and we see that, okay, Hou Fan's pieces are very mobile, and there's chances that anything can happen when the
It's very important for Divya not to lose this essential.
Might see that. She just has to hold her nerve.
Well, she has that. h4. h4, go for it.
Yeah, I love that move, threatening rook to g5. Okay, she doesn't do that, but this one is still very tricky. You can't take on g4 because the rook is on freeze, and this is what she's relying on. That's
Really? What is that? I would be scared.
Wow. Still you can go queen h3. Now the rook is... Whoa. The white king is going walkabout. It's going to be chased to the center. The knight falls. The rook goes. And it is game over for Divya. Hou Fan wins, and well, after that, excitement takes a 2-point lead. What a match! I mean, in the 3+1 portion, that was all mainly Hou Fan. She came out, she changed her style of play. It felt like she was just warming up. And we're going into the bullets with Hou Fan leading 2 points, 6 points to 4. Judith, what do you think we can expect from the bullet?
I don't know, a very important second and a 1-2 minute break between the bullet, I believe, because it depends very much how difficultly Divya is taking this game, because she must have felt in the beginning after the opening that it was her game. Like, I also got very enthusiastic, but just smashed the opponent, but then she misplayed it completely. I don't know how much she feels bad about it, but she shouldn't really think about that and really focus, be full in the maximum intuition mode, and be fast and be sharp and make surprises for Hou Fan to bounce back.
Yes, and the onus is now completely on Divya. Will she stick to her guns, or will she begin to freestyle? And talking about freestyle, don't miss this week's Community Freestyle Fridays. Every Friday, this event is open to everyone to compete in a Chess 960 style arena and win diamond membership on chess.com. Starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, try your hand at the unpredictable variant that has the chess world talking. So use !communityff in chat, or visit go.chess.com/communityff for more information. And well, after a short break, we're going to be right back in the fast lane with the bullets. So see you then.
Join the community club on chess.com and participate in amazing community events every week. On Mondays, challenge yourself with incredible openings in Opening Roulette. Don't miss Untitled Tuesday every week right after Title Tuesday. On Wednesday, join Arena Kings and compete against a lineup of legendary creators. On Fridays, try the all-new Community Freestyle Fridays and throw opening theory out the window. And finally, round up the week by showing off your speed in the Community Bullet Brawl. Win prizes, battle legends, and challenge yourself. Play in the community tournaments every week on chess.com.
It's a normal, yeah, but we don't have some funny target ways.
No, it's a normal puzzle.
Yeah, simply like first B8. If it's a puzzle, some moves like with the king are usually not working. The problem is that if you promote to a queen or to a rook, it's a stalemate. So we have to go very likely with some under promotion to knight p8 and if promote queens, just move. I have to put something and then to cover. So one of the ideas is to put, for example, a8 to go with the bishop and then to promote with to a queen. Yeah, but if I do that, for example, if black plays king f8, then it works. Because I promote to a queen or to a rook, king f7, bishop d5 will come with a checkmate. But in case of king e8, it's also the mate. Because if I go here and then no matter if black goes here or here, queen will come with a checkmate.
A8 to knight, things like making it e6 and
Doesn't matter if it's a bishop.
yeah.
Or a knight.
Okay,
Correct.
then just queens. It's fine.
Perfect. Well done.
Kasing-kasing nag-aawit Champion ang tumong Mapapilin ang gugma sa dula Kawayan Chess Club sa Oslo pa Sa punta sa'yo Nagkandamdam ng kanan Bit-bit ang chessboard Uban sa kahayag sa adlaw Text class ko nag-una Kidala ang kusog Para sa Oslo tournament Andam na tama
It's back and it's time for the portion that excites us the most. It is, of course, a bullet. We're going to have 15 minutes of fast, furious chess. And we see Divya Deshmukh. She is trailing by 2 points. She needs to recover. She needs to win 2 points if she wants to take a tie breaks. But for Hou Fan, she has really leveled up. She's switched a gear, and we'll see what both of these players will be bringing to the table as we enter the 1+1 Judith. Any advice for the bullet players out there?
Don't think about anything else. Just be focusing. Who is going to be more concentrated wins the game.
Okay, it's all about focus, it's all about flow, it's all about letting your heart play those moves and of course being quick on the mouse. And we already see that
Look at poor Divya. She smiled because she thought knight f3 will be coming. So the pre-move d6, that's why it's there.
okay, this is not a bad
gambit.
system.
There is special online gambits.
There are, but okay, if she can survive this one, she can. Exactly.
That's knight d7.
Yeah, knight d7 is necessary. You want to cover b6. Bishop 2, g7. Yeah, the problem is she's not that comfortable with the lack of space. There's no pawn breaks. This is going to get interesting. I agree.
Divya cannot lose this game. And not for necessarily for point purposes, the score, but for self-confidence purposes. It's a must that she's not
And I agree. In terms of psychology, in terms of mindset, it's going to be very difficult to recover from quite a devastating start. And there we're seeing Hou Fan, she's just playing her type of chess, you know, keeping it solid, keeping full control. And just putting the question to Divya, how are you going to untangle? B7 is a weakness, the knight jumps in. Okay, well, I wasn't sure about the knight jumping in. I thought that would be nice to leave that kind of pawn jump in reserve. But still, this is super nice for white. You know, white can play on both sides of the board. You can swing over with the rook to the king side, you can keep it solid on the queen side. This is very, very nice.
Yeah, but not rook c5, maybe. b5, rook c5. I'm not sure the exchange of bishops at this point was so perfect for white. At the same time, it seems that Hu Yifan wants to be very solid, very clear, simplifying the position. Look at that. She plays c4 in order to simplify the position, but I'm not sure it's so good. I mean, the king on g1, rook c8 shows up. There are some tactics.
Yeah, I was actually expecting her to keep everything tight and just go for queen h6 at the right time. But okay, if we have what we have on the board, and there the white king is not particularly safe.
Well, their queen f4 was winning for white.
And now, okay, is there f4 ideas? Nope, there isn't because the rook was on freeze. Still f4 is in the air, but you can go into a rook and pawn endgame as the players are doing. And then the...
Ooh! Hu Yifan, big trouble, huge trouble, and Divya is back in business.
And Hu Yifan struggling on the clock as well as Divya manages to turn around the position, and now she's in a better rook and pawn endgame, but still Hu Yifan playing as actively as possible, coming forward with the king. It's coming.
Hu Yifan, no, Divya has to win this game. Yes, there's no way she can miss this opportunity.
But Hu Yifan just under 2 seconds on the clock. And Divya has a very straightforward plan, and she's playing so quickly. King e3.
Secure.
Building up time.
Why not king e2? Why not king e2? Now Divya is like being insecure. She doesn't know. She had so much opportunity. Now she has to sacrifice already a pawn. Yeah, and rook e3. I mean, okay, king e4. She's we will win, but she's so short on time as well. She has to be fast, pushing pawns, pushing the pawn.
Yeah. Wow. But this one is a win for Divya. As she starts to narrow the gap. Just 1 point between them. Yeah, Hu Yifan's king just too far away there in that endgame. And now you see Divya, she goes back to her e4.
Let's see what she can bring out of this. I think it was a good choice because it's a very pleasant position for white. Back. 94. Oh. Or 94, but bishop e3 is welcome.
Develop the piece.
Knight 92.
Pressure against d5.
Not a nice position to be in. What a position for white. Oh my god, this is something that you would like to avoid. Never see this. It has to be playing. Take it. Ah, yeah, take it. It would have been possible to take it. She can take it again.
Yeah. But how you
why not to take it? But why didn't she take it? To keep the knights? Okay,
she just wants control. She wanted to be maximalist about this whole thing and not give black any ounce of activity. And now we're going to seize. Okay, you gotta move the queen. And Divya playing so fast there, Judith. Just
I want to remind you, it's a bullet game. It's a crazy bullet game. She doesn't have a choice, right? I mean, it's seconds.
Yeah. Hui Fan, well, 24 seconds. And she's desperately trying to make her rook a nuisance, targeting b2. There's maybe some ideas of hitting f2 at the right time. But how is Hui Fan going to maintain her rook there?
Queen b5, how tricky move she is. Queen
Okay, now she can give a check.
Yeah, and Queen e4, d6, bye-bye. Equalizing match. Queen b5. Queen b5 with Divya. She knows what she's doing. Equalize, 6-6.
6-6, and there we have it. 7 minutes and 44 seconds of the match remaining. Everything is completely even, and here comes the knight. And the thing is, Divya is showing us that she's a fantastic bullet player. Really great, very, very quick. She plays precise moves, she puts pressure on Hui Fan, and now Hui Fan with the white pieces. Okay, knight to d4 is a move.
That's the most logical.
And now c4, you can cover d5, and then you can start to ask questions about this bishop. You can maybe make an f3 move, and no, this was not the right move.
Okay, having a little imbalanced position, it's not the end of the world in a bullet game. In c2, b5 maybe. Or just go knight
The pawn is
c4.
hanging on f5.
Bishop d3, right? So she has to be careful about that. This is why b5 was much stronger, I think.
Yeah.
Because now black has to go back to safety. g6. Well,
Still a mess though, Judith, because bishop d3, love that move. You're setting up h4, h5, checkmate on h7. d5 pawn cuts the position in two, and there's just no entry squares for the rook on c8. So this is getting tense. h4, it's coming. How to defend against that? Go with the queen. Nice active throw from Divya.
20 seconds for each. 20 seconds, white is winning. Can she convert it? Some bishop e5 is sure.
Rook c8 incoming. Rook c8. This is a lovely move.
She realized that the bishop has to be on f5, but it's too late, losing 2 temp.
And now the 8 pawn falls, and I just love the way that Hui Fan just kept control, made sure that black didn't get any checks, nothing of the sorts, and the pawn on b6 is hanging, and now she's just playing to dislodge that rook from f8. Yes.
Not so easy. Simplifying, but I'm not sure it's going to be making life easy for one.
There's a pawn.
Yeah, pawn on d5.
Be careful, don't step up with your king, because
There is always an option to plunder.
And Hui Fan does 4 seconds though. This is the question: can she hold her nerve? Throwing in a check. Knights are very crafty, and there you see the blockade is on the verge of being. Oh, she blundered her rook! Oh no! And Divya, wow, she has been gifted this, and now a3 pawn, g3 pawn. Yeah, it's a gift. Divya wins. Wow. Wow, okay, that's gonna hurt Hui Fan, and for Divya that was just a gift from the gods. And there we're seeing Divya with the white pieces. It's a French, okay, she's just closing it down. Just 3 minutes and 46 seconds remaining of the match.
Which means that we have this game and one more game. So this game can decide the match.
Absolutely. This one could potentially decide it all. And Divya is with the white pieces. If she wins, I don't think Ho Fan will be able to recover from this one.
If she wins this game, she wins the match. No,
Yep, exactly.
It's only one more match. So there is no way Hui Fan can lose this game, stay in the match.
Exactly. Ho Fan needs to win if she wants to stay in the match. And, well, the position is open. It's
Or a
all good.
draw.
And the thing
If it's
is
a draw,
here,
she can still equalize.
well, this is the question. How long is it going to take to draw the match? To draw this game, sorry. Because if Divya takes her time, runs the match clock down, a draw will be insufficient.
Okay. So now they are playing with time on the board and outside of the board as well.
Exactly, it's a real game of cat and mouse. Ho Fan in a must-win situation. Divya needs to drag this game out for as long as possible. So,
But it's a beautiful position. What a beautiful position. She just took a pawn.
there goes one pawn. And there.
No, but
we see
the previous game, it's impossible to recover. It's so much forward to the end, and she was winning, Hui Fan completely winning, and not only she destroyed it to a draw, but she blundered to loss. It's just, and she had about 1 second to start a new game with black. Okay, this she's not going to lose, by the way. She's gonna hold.
Well, she's not going to lose it.
No.
But the question is like, how long is it going to take her to draw this? She's only got she's got less than 1 minute and a half to get to a drawn position, and Divya is going to drag this one on for as long as possible.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Divya is aware of what's going on from this perspective. Are you sure that she's following the time and she can? How many seconds we have? How many seconds? I mean, it's. What is this?
Yeah, we see here Queen Jack and okay, maybe Queen to D4 was
Rook E8. Rook E8 was better.
And there we see Queen to F3. We're going to see a Rook and Judith, 54 seconds remaining of this match. I remember Ho Fan practically in a must-win situation here.
6 seconds to 5. We'll see who is losing on time.
We'll see whether Divya can string this game for as long as possible. And it's a draw. 32 seconds remaining of the match. We're going to have a net game.
But you can see that Divya is not happy. She's laughing. She knows that this game was not the game of her life. Must-win situation for Hui Fan.
Absolutely Fan to take this high breaks. Absolutely needs to win. And if we do reach tie breaks, well then we're going to see 4 extra games of Bullet. And if still tied, then I think it's going to be decided by Armageddon. So we're going to focus on the game. But we'll come to that bridge when we cross it. But for the time being, Ho Fan in a must-win situation with the white pieces.
Well, so far things are going pretty stable for Divya. She has more seconds on the clock. She has a very stable position. In C7, very nice. Putting pressure, a lot of pressure against the E5 knight. And look at that white castle sacrificing that pawn because gaining back on D5. But how can she get any advantage? How can white be really playing for advantage? Though it's unpleasant for black, but how unpleasant it can be.
Right, well, one thing that you mustn't do with black is trade off queens, because then suddenly the rooks will infiltrate on d6 and black will be completely locked in. And here, it's a very nice position though for white, because this bishop on c8 was not really working, and you know, as white, I'm thinking about going h4, h5, trying to mix things up, but a5 appears on the board. And now it's a different kettle of fish, right? Because you don't want to be trading off queens with the white pieces, because then this bishop is coming out to c6, and Divya really playing some great moves to equalize the position.
But she's back in time. She's down in time. That's the only problem she has. But I think she's going to hold it. It seems that she's very stable in this game. She's extremely focused. F5 usually.
Absolutely everything on the line. Oh, a draw will be enough to get Divya through to the semi-finals, where she will be playing Katerina Lagno, and well, she's won the C2 pawn, and this is going to be very, very difficult to win.
B4, look at that. Some danger is coming. Serious danger is coming.
Under 10 seconds on the clock.
Very serious danger for Divya. Very serious danger. Oof, 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 oof. Rook f7, game over.
7.
Oh, mate.
And we have it. Hou Je Fan does it. She equalizes the match. You can see the emotion on her face as she manages to win in a must-win scenario. Now we're in the tie breaks, and that means that we're going to have 4 games of 1+1. But take a look at the emotions there on the players, and this is what is in store for us. 4 games of 1+1. The colors will be swapping after each game, and it's the first person to reach 2.5 points. Now, if the match is still tied after these 4 games, then everything is going to be decided by Armageddon, where the players will be bidding for the time. And do remember that the player playing black in Armageddon gets the draw odds. Wow, wow, wow. What a tale. What a fight it has been so far. This is going down to the wire, Judith.
Absolutely, it's nerve-wracking what has happened in the last 3 games. Not only what's happening on the chessboard, but the race with time. Race, how much I have to make a move, not running out of time, how much seconds we have until we switch different time control. And now is the moment for both players, like laughing that, okay, whatever happened, we still now. Let's go for the last portion of 4 and maybe close 1 game.
And here we see it. It's Dubrava, London.
Is it?
Have I got my best? Or is it in French?
Yeah, no, D5. Yeah, it was a D4 start. But it could be, yeah, it could be Caracana or French, yeah.
It could, and Hou Je Fan with the white pieces, and already there's pressure against this knight on e4. I mean, Divya holds firm, but I'm not liking this big square there on e5, and I'm also not liking the fact that this bishop on c8 is locked in. It's not getting out anytime soon. So knight d3, knight e5 on tap. White can just simply castle kingside. And how is black going to generate some play?
Well, yeah, bishop b5 is what happened, I think. f3 will be pushing the way the knight from e4. It's not going to be so nice. I mean, obviously you favor white, right, in this position, no question about it. Knight d3, putting pressure on e6. Knight c4 though, knight c4, fine. Didn't want to give the pawn. Yeah, but maybe after that already knight c4 is a threat. But she's not going. There. She's trying to give some tricks.
I'm not sure about this particular move, rook h6, but okay, it might be rewarded after knight to d3. I mean, the whole reason...
I was sure she's going to play knight e4.
Yeah, of course. It was just too tempting, right? You know, he threatened some kind of nasties on h2. But you mean black has to take care because the rook is offside on h6. And so if Hou Je Fan were to switch it up, I'm not sure about b4, because suddenly the play shifts over to the queen side. And look, queen on d2 knits everything together.
Checkmate at tumaan
Are we sure that we are happy to give up the four?
Malipay ang tanang naming kamot
Queen a7.
Express ko ng inspirasyon
And now,
But
this is it.
Queen G5, Queen E7 is also something to watch out.
Kawayan chess club kita tanan magtulungan
And here it comes.
sa Oslo.
Queen E7,
checkmate.
queen d8, queen d8.
Diyon sa kamot
Oh, the rook is hanging. This is over.
Champion ang timog
Divya's not coming back from this one, so you can take the rook. Oh, she doesn't. She allowed rook to c4. She didn't take the rook, Judith.
I'm just speechless.
Yeah, she missed rook c4. The rook comes in and saves the game in the nick of time.
What is
And
H4?
now
What do you mean H4? Why didn't she take on H4?
she was banking on b5.
Because she doesn't have time and she's pre-move mouse.
Wait. What is happening here? The e pawn is going to fall. The first, the h pawn
All
drops.
the
Now
pawns are
everything
falling.
is fallen.
Checkmate
Oi. It was the clock.
malipay ang tanang naming kamot Express ko ng inspirasyon
I would go G4, yeah.
Matasikon
Yeah,
sa
and now
Have
king
like
goes
G4 and
f7.
King G6.
kawayan chess
Black king is in the kill zone, and the e pawn is advancing. So Ho Ifan wins that game. Now it's Divya's turn with the white piece. And do remember, the first person to reach 2.5 points is going to be winning the tie break. So Divya must strike back.
Yeah. And Hui Fan took the lead.
She does take the lead. And Divya, what do we think about this change of approach? I mean, she's been very good with e4, now changing to c4, d4.
I think it's quite okay. I mean, it's so important that you're happy with your playing, and you have to be fast, you have to be intuitive. And as we emphasized so many times, you have no time. Basically, you have to make not necessarily good moves all the time, but you have to make smart moves by making a decision to switch openings, by making surprising move when your opponent has very short on time. So it's intuition is taking the main role in this bullet. You know, I haven't played bullet too much, maybe just a few games in my life.
Really?
But I'm not an online player anyway, and basically bullet you play online, right? You don't set up the club bullet, do you? I give away my age with this sentence, I think. Not playing bullet.
It was very popular in my house to play this kind of game, which was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you won your game, you would then go down to 4 minutes, and at the end, you know, the person who won a lot would be playing 1 minute maybe against 5, and that's how I played a lot of bullets.
Okay, interesting. But Divya is going to bounce back here. I mean, she has a fantastic position.
She does, and there's a beautiful pin there, and
B4. B4 probably. Bishop F6. Or just simply taking it and going rook, I don't know, maybe Bishop F6 is better. Going rook D3, rook A8. Okay,
Regan and that's an exchange.
Mapapiling ang gugma sa dula.
Divya's doing some great things here. She's got a very straightforward plan. Just double up on c9, rook c7 incoming.
interesting defense by Black.
On seconds again. 6 seconds ticking down. Ooh.
Rook c8, check.
Look at that, rook c8.
No, rook c8 was not enough, it seems. But okay, time-wise.
It was just
In
instinct.
G2, excellent.
Yeah,
What
but now
is this?
Queen takes pawn. Now this is it's gonna be equal.
Oh.
How Fan gets away with it. This is now an equal rook and pawn endgame.
Matasikon sa
Ay, what a mess.
kawayan chess.
She had checkmate in the palm of her hand, and I'm sure she realised that like literally 1 second after she made the move.
Look at that!
She dropped the rook! Oh! And she's laughing, but that has got to hurt as Hu Yifan wins a second game. Oh, and now Divya must win.
Well,
If
this
she
is
wants to
actually
stay alive.
happened. I mean, Hu Yifan blundered with rook b7, right? It's the same story. She was a winning position, and then she played rook b7, knight b7 in the 3-minute portion, I think. And so this, oh my god. So now she's a must-win situation twice. Ooh, this is the position? Oh my god. How can you win this? How can you think you can win this?
Divya is going to try to win this one, and she's going to show us how to unbalance things. It will be an absolute miracle if Divya manages to pull off the ultimate and force it to Armageddon. She's making her bid for that right now as she pushes f5. You've got to unleash chaos, otherwise